hear me out. If you really felt the need to, you could always say that this is an in-scale Ant-Man. Like, he could grow to be this size, so technically this is a one-for-one Ant-Man. From Marvel Legends, this is the Target exclusive Ant-Man. And I'll be honest, even before I was getting back into collecting Marvel Legends, I saw this guy around a lot and was always tempted to pick him up just because he really pops off the toy box. Taking a closer look, and for me, man, that head sculpt just sells this entire thing. I love that silver paint, how shiny it is. It really does just pop off the shelf when you walk by. What helps is the rest of the costume's also very well done. Love the black and red and blue. Like, real talk, right? Classic Ant-Man's design is low-key one of the best superhero designs ever. I feel like we don't give it enough credit. I especially love the belt that has a little bit more of that silver paint, and the cool, like, little, I don't know what that emblem's supposed to be. I'm going to say ruler. I know it's like a utility belt and it says Pym Particles, but, you know, I don't know what to say it looks like. Unfortunately, he is using some older parts, so no pinless double-jointed arms or legs. Me, personally, that doesn't bother me, but I know some people really would prefer the pinless, so be aware of that. But once again, overall, this is a really great-looking Marvel Legends. It's kind of astounding, really. And of course, it wouldn't be a Marvel Legends if it didn't have that good old super articulation. And old Hank Pym here can definitely get into some fun poses. Let's go over your points though. So in the head, you do have a ball joint. You don't get much side to side, but there is a little bit of waggle. You do get a lot down and a lot up though, so I think that's wonderful, especially for photo photography. You have a butterfly joint, which works really well. You have a cut here at the upper arm. You of course have the double jointed elbow, and a universal at the wrist. And by the way, I just want to say this. I love these kind of hands that Ant-Man comes with. He does, of course, come with a pair of closed fists. They're fine. But these open hands, they're so gestural. I love them even more because they can do so much. Like, you could do them like I'm doing right now, where it's like, hey, back off, man. Or you can kind of have like a, I expected this to happen. You can have it down here on his hips. You can have it like he's just talking, like, well, you know, like, we could talk about science, Mr. Fantastic. There's something about these hands that make this figure even better to me. I love how there's so much expression in them, despite the fact that really they're kind of simple. But let's get back to the articulation. You have a great ab crunch that has a bit of click in it, really, and also you can see that they painted the line continuously, so even as you're leaning back, you don't have a breakup in the costume. You have a waist swivel here. The belt is glued down, which is a wonderful addition. You have a universal at the hip. Works a lot. There is slight drop down to the hip, but not much. And then you do have a cut at the thigh. You have a double jointed knee. You have a cut at the boot. You have that ankle rocker that Marvel Legends have made famous. And you also have up and down. I think I want to say real quick, going back to that belt, right? A huge reason why I fell out of Marvel Legends many years ago is because I got so sick of the accessories just be floating on the figure. And eventually, as they got older, they just wouldn't stay up. And they did that with capes, they did that with belts. With some characters, they did that with, like, boot cuffs and gloves. Like, I go back thinking about, like, my old Cyclops figure, my Jim Lee Cyclops, and his things would always just fall down. And that's a huge reason why I got rid of all my Marvel Legends stuff, is because I felt like this is just ridiculous, you know? Getting back into them now, I'm so happy to see that they're actually, like, giving more effort to the presentation of these figures. They feel better than the ones I messed with before felt. They look better. They get better paint. They have better, you know, hiding of the articulation. They glue the accessories down. It's like, you know, Hasbro upped their game. And if I had to guess why, it's probably because McFarlane's doing pretty well with DC Multiverse. And for a long time, Mattel wasn't doing well with DC stuff. So, as a result, Hasbro didn't really have to put effort into Marvel Legends to be the best superhero line. But now, they're trying again. And, as they say, when you try, you tend to make something a bit better. That said, also, look at that. Just smoldering Hank Pym there. I'm not gonna lie and claim to be the biggest Ant-Man fan ever, but I do really like Hank Pym, and I like his original costume a lot. So this figure really is something great for me, and I think it's a really impressive figure overall. It's kind of been shelf warming at Targets recently, so I'd totally say, like, if you're even kind of into Ant-Man or the Avengers, this is a good figure, but also, maybe just wait to get that clearance deal, because even though it's great, we could always save a couple bucks. But with all that said, even at full price, I do think this Ant-Man's worth it. I think there's enough going on here, and it just is a really good looking figure at the end of the day, and that's kind of all it needs to be.